Working for you. A weekly talk radio program which highlights developments of national interest and the activities of your St. Kitts Nevis government. Join host Lesroy Williams as he presents news, views, reports, and interviews about everything regarding the activities of the Team Unity government and the building of our communities and the development of St. Kitts Nevis. Tune in and call into every Wednesday live from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on ZIZ Radio, Win FM, and Sugar City FM with broadcast on participating stations. Working for you.
A pleasant good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of our Working for You program, which is a production of the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service. It airs live on ZIZ Radio, as well as Win FM and Sugar City Rock every Wednesday from 1:30 to 3 p.m. My name is Jacqueline Bryan. I'm your host for today, and I'm filling in for Mr. Lesroy Williams, who's actually the Director General of SKNIS. And just to let you know that if you want to see the program live, you can do so as well. We stream on our Facebook account. So when you sign in to your Facebook account, you can look for SKNIS Media, and you can look at the entire program as it happens, as every word is said. Usually on this program, we try to keep you up to date with what's happening in the various government departments and units, and there's always so much going on. This month is no different. Last week we spoke about youth activities because November is earmarked as Youth Month in the Federation. And November also has another special observance, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. Maintaining a thriving tourism sector by promoting capacity building, the use of sustainable practices, as well as raising professional standards will be the focus of today's program. The Ministry of Tourism is on a campaign to ensure that you are knowledgeable of the tourism sector's significant contribution to people's lives and livelihoods. It's a major part of what they do, and to help them achieve that, they've designated November as Tourism Awareness Month. The theme for this year's observance is Enhancing Our Nation's Prosperity by Nurturing Tourism Sustainability. And my special guests today are from the Ministry of Tourism. I'm joined by Permanent Secretary Carleen Henry Morton.
Good afternoon.
Assistant Secretary Dianelle Taylor-Williams.
Good afternoon.
And Executive Director responsible for tourism events, Mr. Alastair Williams.
Good afternoon.
From the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, the Public Relations Manager there is Sadra Ngala, and he will be with us today as well.
Good afternoon.
Just yesterday in the House of Assembly, Minister of Tourism, Lindsey Grant, said that nearly $200 million will be pumped into the St. Kitts and Nevis economy between November 2017 and January 2018, thanks to a booming cruise tourism sector. This week alone, 14 ships are expected to make calls to the island, bringing approximately 35,759 visitors to our shores, according to the minister. This, my friends, is truly amazing, but it is just a part of the entire tourism industry. So first, our guests will tell us about the tourism industry and just give us a general overview of our industry and what our product is like.
Well, thank you so much for having us here on Working for You. Of course, this month is Tourism Awareness Month in the month of November, and we are celebrating tourism, and we have quite a lot to celebrate about our tourism product. As you are aware, the Park Hyatt is now open for business, and it is our luxury-based hotel. It's supposed to open our market to the high-end market, which really and truly is what we are going after. I think it's a destination that is not as big as Jamaica or Barbados and so forth. We don't have what they have, but what we do have is an authentic experience. And what we do find is that those with higher income tend to want to come to these type of islands where they can immerse themselves in everything that is, in our case, St. Kitts. It could be our heritage, our culture, sports, of course the beaches, the environment, going hiking and so forth. They want to do everything, and St. Kitts offers them just that. And that is why the Park Hyatt, also the Christopher Harbour Development and Kitchen Hill is a good fit to enhance our tourism product. At the Tourism Authority, we do quite a lot of work to market the island. And in many areas, in many instances, we try to use efficient modes to market the islands. And one way we do that is by exposing the destination to the media. And this month alone, we've had at least 4 media come to St. Kitts, write about St. Kitts, post about St. Kitts, and so forth. If you look at our work in the media, we have quite a lot to celebrate. The Wall Street Journal ranked St. Kitts as number 9 on a list of 10 places in the world to vacation in 2017. Again, that is what we do. We invite, we court, we attract media to come to the island. And we know once they come to the island, they're going to write, they're going to post, they're going to do so much work that is worth millions of dollars in value if you do direct advertising, taking out ads, taking out video ads, and so forth. So this is just one strategy. Another media house, Coastal Living, ranked St. Kitts as number 16 as the world's 21 top luxury beach destination in 2017. Reader's Digest in Canada named St. Kitts number 8 in the top 10 sexiest places on the planet. Travelocity named St. Kitts as one of the 6 Caribbean islands you need to visit now. Surrealist named St. Kitts as one of the best Caribbean cruise destinations. Caribbean Journal ranked St. Kitts number 11 of 25 Caribbean destinations to visit in 2017. I say all of this, especially in Tourism Awareness Month, that St. Kitts has a lot to offer. And a lot of it has to do with the people and how people relate to our visitors, how they treat our visitors, how we treat our own environment. We are going up against destinations like Jamaica, Barbados, and all over the world, Hawaii, and we are ranking in most cases in the top 10. That says a lot about St. Kitts, and that is why November, Tourism Awareness Month, we have a lot to celebrate.
You've been working hard to make the invitation to St. Kitts and Nevis as warm and as welcoming as possible. So once they accept that invite, what then needs to happen?
Well, there's a number of ways we do that. Once we promote the island and they want to come to St. Kitts, they either go on our website and they can book. And that leads me, we now have a brand new, shining, sparkling website. It's probably the best, right? I'm not even trying to be
I've never heard a website described like that before, but it makes me want to go there now.
Once they decide to come to St. Kitts, they have to book. And what they usually do is that they go looking for more information about St. Kitts. Of course, they look for the flights, they look for travel agents, they look, and one place you can do that is our website, because we have everything there. And the way it is now is that our website is extremely interactive. We want to be able to talk back to you, and our website does that. Once you log on to our website, we know. Every person that comes to the website, we know that they're on the website. There's a window that pops up that asks, do you have any questions? And in real time, we answer you. That, again, puts us way above the curve in terms of other destinations, even bigger destinations. Also, with this new website, we allow our stakeholders, hotel owners, restaurant owners, and so forth, to be able to go into the website and update their own information. Through the back end. So they get to tell the world exactly what they want, not what we want them to see, but exactly what the stakeholders want. And that's a part of another strategy. We want our stakeholders to be talking about St. Kitts, either through social media, through their website, or just simply, by word of mouth to their guests. But we want them to be making a lot of noise about St. Kitts because they are right there. The hotel is right there, pristine on the beach. They see everything. So we want them to be posting, we want them to be updating, we want them to be able to put their own information, how they like it, on our website. We have specials. We have special calendars where people can book either to go to a restaurant, to go to a hotel, or book to go to events such as the music festival that we had recently. So once they decided that they want to go, they get the information, they make their bookings, they come to St. Kitts, and they have an experience like no other.
So what are some of the things being done to sustain the industry?
Well, that's a very wide question. We're doing quite a lot, but from the St. Kitts tourism side of it, we do have a product department, a standard department that works very closely with our stakeholders to improve standards in the destination. We do quite a number of training with our stakeholders, our taxi operators, our various vendors from the primate to the aloe rub vendors and so forth. We also, of course, do inspections. We go to the beaches to ensure that they are up to par. Inspection to me is very, very important because it allows us to go out into the field and to see what's out there, what needs to be improved, and we do that on a daily basis. Other things, which I think might even be passed on over to Mrs. Morton, in terms of enhancing our tourism product, the Strip and Black Rocks. But those are some of these things which I think I want to pass on over to Mrs. Morton to talk about.
Well, let me touch first of all on our people, because I think that is a huge pillar when it comes to tourism, capacity building. And we're starting from down in our schools, our primary schools. We have a number of schools that are involved in our tourism education and awareness program. And the whole idea is to sensitize our people from very, very early in their lives as to the importance of the tourism sector. After all, it contributes 30% of our jobs, whether it is indirectly or directly. 30% of our workforce are employed in some way to something related to tourism. Then it contributes to about 25% of our gross domestic product. So you know that we have to work hard to make sure that it is sustainable, if it is something that we are working on building to pass on to future generations. So that whole idea of making sure that our people, our young people, our citizens in general are equipped, they understand what the tourism product is, they understand what the expectations are, from a thriving, buoyant, very dynamic destination, something that has something that people would want to come to visit again and again and to experience. The whole idea is, as Sajid said, people come here, but we want to make sure that we differentiate ourselves from our competitors. Because, a Caribbean island is a Caribbean island. But St. Kitts has to emphasize what we have that is so unique that would compel people to come back, and to spread the word to others that, listen, you have to go to St. Kitts. That is what is going to keep a sustainable tourism product. We have, apart from that, as Sajid mentioned, we are always looking at ways to upgrade. Quite a bit of work has taken place on this Strip already. I'm sure you would have gone over and you would have seen that we have paved roads with access for trucks to deliver and so on. We have sidewalks that would be available to those persons who may have some challenges, wheelchair access and so on. We also are going into phase 2 of that particular project, and I don't want to jump the gun too much, but just know that we're going to enhance what we have already. At Black Rocks, we have 5 vendors' booths that we're getting ready to open to our vendors shortly, and we're getting ready to put down 5 more. And that is just the second phase of the work that we have to do at Black Rocks. We have put in, as well, as we say, quite some infrastructure. We were having some challenges down there with drainage and so on. We have addressed those challenges, and we have quite a bit of work yet to be done down at Black Rocks, because we think it is a very popular, a very iconic site. It gets a lot of visitors, and so we have to raise the standard so that not just our visitors, but our vendors as well are very comfortable in the place where they spend quite a bit of their day. So those are some of the areas in which we are trying to work to make sure that we have a very sustainable product, something that would compel people to want to come and visit St. Kitts. And there are other things I would pass on to Dianne and to Alistair if they care to jump in about some of the work that we have been doing to look after the product.
Some of the things that I've been working on with my team has to do with the whole thing with sustainability in terms of capacity building, not on the school side of things, but with the adults and persons already in the industry. So earlier this year we had a destination guardian training. Persons who were trained under the Sustainable Tourism Professionals course. We use that to train persons both in the public and private sector. And at the end of it, these people have become our destination guardians. These are the people who we expect to look out for things being done properly, whether they are working in the public sector or private sector, to ensure that we maintain the destination as being a sustainable one. We also had an enterprise training for persons working in tourism enterprise. Now, we have developed a new training program for tourism businesses called the I Speak program. This year, our focus was on sustainable tourism. So at the end of the training, all of the participants got a button which says, I Speak Sustainable Tourism St. Kitts. So at the end of that training, all those persons had a better understanding, not of sustainable tourism in general, but sustainable tourism specific to St. Kitts. They were taking, not only having class sessions, but they were taking on-site visits to places that have sustainability best practices for them to see it in operation. And then having done that training, they came back and came up with ideas of things that they can do to implement those practices or similar practices in their establishment. They also looked at the Heart of St. Kitts Sustainability Charter, which speaks to businesses doing things to ensure that their businesses are sustainable, reusing paper, printing double-sided, making sure that your staff are aware of your plans in terms of, for example, right now our focus is a lot on disaster, having just gone to two Category 5 hurricanes. Do the staff members know what the emergency plan is? What is your crisis communication strategy? Those are some of the things we want people to focus on in terms of the sustainability charter, because one of the challenges we have very often is when we speak sustainability, immediately people begin to think environment. And we want to stress that the environmental sustainability is not more important than the social sustainability. It's about people's livelihoods and people, the social side of things. And so that is what we've been trying to do with our training. In addition to that, we had our very first Plastic Free July, and we were commended by the International Plastic Free July organization for taking this step. And we're looking forward to doing Plastic Free July in a bigger way next year. And I know it still resonates with people what we had done for Plastic Free July this year. Although we started off really small, it made a difference. I mean, we went to the businesses, because that's what we did. We worked with the supermarkets to encourage them to participate with us. And most people are saying government just needs to ban plastic. But as is done now, we don't do things based on stories or people's feelings. We want to have empirical data. And so that is one of the things we were doing during Plastic Free July, was to gather data as to the amount of plastic being used by, for example, supermarkets, so that we can look to see, now that we have this awareness, has there been a trend downwards since then? Are more people bringing their reusable bags to the supermarkets? In addition to that, we are doing other little things in terms of sustainability. Even in our office, we have our own small green initiative, and we laugh in the office because we say tourism has gone greenish. We are collecting recyclables. We no longer put them in the bin to be taken to the landfill. They have been separated and they're now being taken to the facility that collects recyclables. So we collect plastic, aluminum, corrugated cardboard, and glass bottles. Those are the things we are collecting for now. But those are some of the initiatives that we have been working on. And maybe later I can speak to two other things, which is the Climate Smart Sustainable Tourism Forum, and something that has never been done in St. Kitts before. We've done several visitor satisfaction surveys, but we've never done a resident satisfaction survey. This year, for the first time, St. Kitts has gotten off by having a resident satisfaction survey. And that is something we want to tell people more about, because it's understanding, it's about the social side of things that I spoke about, because sustainable tourism is built on three pillars. The sociocultural situation, the economy, and also the environment. And if we're going to have true sustainability, all three must be in balance.
But the Tourism Authority and the ministry seems to have been doing so much throughout the entire year. Why would you say having a month allocated to tourism awareness is necessary, and why the emphasis on awareness?
Well, we feel that without people being sensitized as to what the deliverables are, what the expectations are, what are you working towards? You're working in a vacuum. And as I was saying to Alice just a little while ago, we really feel that every month is Tourism Awareness Month. It's just that we have selected November to kind of drill down a bit more and to intensify some of the discussions that we would have and so on. But we want this discussion to be taking place year round, that people, wherever you get the opportunity to talk to our young people, to talk to our citizens about the role that they must play, the very important role that individually and collectively we have to play in making sure that we have a tourism product that we are the custodians. We have to hand something over, enhanced to the next generation for them to build on. And so that is the kind of conversation that we want to keep going. And so yes, we have a tourism month, and so we have decided it's almost like Christmas, but we're supposed to be kind and peace loving and so on all year round, but we have chosen to focus in on Christmas, the Jesus' birth and so on. So it's basically the same thing for tourism month. Yes, we focus in, but all year round we want this kind of conversation to be taking place.
And what is the significance of the theme, given what you're trying to achieve? Enhancing our nation's prosperity by nurturing tourism sustainability.
Well, the whole idea of consolidating, we have our successes and so on, but we need now and again to go back to consolidate and see where we're doing really, really well. Those will help us to focus on those areas where perhaps we're not doing as well as we really want to. Once we understand those two things, we should have a better grasp of what we need to do to make sure that we have a product that lasts. Because that is what sustainability is all about. It is enduring, it is resilient, it can persevere even though challenges might come and so on. So those are some of the things that from my perspective, but I'm sure that the officers here would have other things that they would like to add.
Well, just
In
to add-
addition, sorry, go ahead.
Well, just to add to Mrs. Morton about tourism being an everybody's business, and that's important, because even this picture that we have here for tourism, if the camera can see it, I'll bring it a little closer. Tourism is everyone's business. In fact, I'll go and say every day is Tourism Awareness Day in St. Kitts.
Yes.
Everyone can make an input in tourism, no matter who you are. Once you are a resident, you're living here, you are a part of the tourism product.
Exactly.
And we encourage that to people, that if you're going to pass a visitor, if you're going to pass each other, say good morning, good afternoon, smile. As you can see, when I came in here, I had a big smile and I said good afternoon. So just being courteous, being kind to each other, being mindful that your country, St. Kitts, is among the best. And when I say among the best, Hawaii or Jamaica or even New Zealand, we are ranking up that. And in order to keep that, we are going to play our role. We are going to do whatever it is to support and develop our tourism product.
In addition to that, I just wanted to add one other thing with respect to the theme, that this year is the International Year of Tourism for Sustainability, International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development. And so that is why we are focusing on sustainability, not that we are following everybody, because sustainability has now become almost a cliche, but the fact that it's the International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development. And just yesterday I attended a conference, the Labour Conference, and they were speaking about decent work for sustainability, right? And it has to do with development. So whatever we are doing now must be done in such a way that, like Mrs. Morton said, it lasts. What we have lasts, because this is all we have. And so we have to make it work. But we don't get a second chance to do it. We have to do it right now. And we have to make sure that everybody is on board.
And sustainability is a word that keeps popping up in different spheres all the time, because it relates to conserving an ecological balance by avoiding depletion of natural resources. And we know in St. Kitts and Nevis that's pretty much all we have, our people, and whatever little natural resource we have. So
environment.
nowadays it's almost considered short-sighted for you to have a conversation about anything, especially tourism, that's very
Exactly.
taxing on your natural resources, without talking about sustainability. So I think your move is a pretty strategic move this year.
And while we were having this, my mind went back to something that Minister said at the church service. He spoke about preserve, protect, and promote. And I think that those three pillars are key in the whole idea of sustaining anything. The whole idea of preserving your culture and your traditions and so on, because that's a biggie when it comes to people visiting our country. They want that authentic, Kittitian cuisine. They want to hear about how the bush tea and the different things that we do that would hark back to maybe generations ago how our grandparents used to do things. They want to hear about us protecting our natural and built environment. What are we doing to make sure that we look after Brimstone Hill, for example, that iconic Brimstone Hill, and the whole idea of promoting. No, you can't promote, you can't be an ambassador to promote anything that you don't know anything about, and that knowledge base is absolutely important. Our Kittitians and Nevisians must know about our country. We must know about the attractions that we have, the sites that we have, and so on. So that even apart from speaking to somebody who is on island on St. Kitts or in Nevis, if you go abroad, where are you from? Da, da, da. And before the person could even ask, you begin to say, listen, you need to come to St. Kitts. This is what we have. And you can speak in an informed way about all that we have to offer. Entertainment, as I say, food, whatever it is, whatever you want, we have it. The sites, the attractions, and so on.
And just to piggyback off of something you said, it's interesting because sometimes visitors come here, they want to see the sites, they want to see the animals, they want to see the plants, but they're also very concerned on what you're doing to ensure you're taking care of them. So they want to see the green vervet monkey, but they also want to know that there's things in place to ensure the protection of the green vervet monkey. They want to see the rainforest, but they also want to know that there are things in place. So there are lots of visitors who come and they're very conscious of sustainable practices. So we shouldn't take them for granted either. Yeah. And these are some of the things that they might write about. So when Sadra is keeping a track of all that's being said about St. Kitts and Nevis, Mr. Ngala, those are some of the things we want to see, that St. Kitts and Nevis is one of those countries that's very concerned about protecting and preserving and promoting what it is we have. So I guess you can tell us now about your month of activities, what has happened so far.
Alistair is good for that one.
So, what I'd like to say is that so far we've had a remarkable journey. I want, on behalf of the ministry, to thank the public for responding so positively to many of our programs. I mean, just last Friday, we had our inaugural karaoke competition. There's a Rampack event. People had quite a lot of fun, while at the same time learning about what is happening in tourism and some of the things that they can do to help to sustain the industry. But before that, though, we started out with the official launch. This was done by the permanent secretary on the 1st, and then we had Thanksgiving service on the 5th, because of course in everything we do we have to give God thanks, because we could not have achieved all the things we've achieved over the last year, the last season, had it not been for him. So we had to take time, and we had a fantastic time also at the Zion Moravian Church, where we worship. And this Saturday gone, we also had our music festival retreat. As you know, music festival is a part of tourism, and so we had our retreat over at Carambola, and then we had the minister's cocktail, which was an appreciation exercise for the staff. It was an opportunity for us to get together and share and really have some fun times together, because it's about teamwork, and a lot of the things that we have achieved, we could not have done it had it not been for a really good team. So that was a team building exercise last Saturday. This week we are having the Talks in Schools series, as many of the speakers before, they talked about the future and sustainability and whatnot and so on. The youths are our future, and so we must spend some time to help them to better understand what it is we are doing in tourism and the end result. And as the PS quite rightfully said, we are the custodian, and they are the future, and so they must be in a position to carry on, long after, for the betterment of not only themselves but for the country as a whole. So the talks in schools continue. It goes right down to the end of this week, and on Saturday we have our big bad motorcade and bar crawl, so encouraging the public to come out, bring the rags, the flags, and your horns, your whistles, whatever you. We are teaming up with the National Carnival Committee Sugar Mass 46, and we are doing the island-wide motorcade starting at 11 from outside of Rams on the Bay Road. And it's not just, the fun is one part, yes, but at the same time we hope to use the opportunity to advance the many messages and the things that we want people to understand about tourism and its importance to the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis. So that is on Saturday, 11 starting point outside of Rams on the Bay Road. And on the 19th, this is not our event, but it's an event we support because culture is a big part of tourism as well. And that is the Poinciana Theatre production, When Men Talk About Sex. That is at the ECCB Auditorium, the Session Jacob Auditorium, on the 19th at 6 o'clock. And the play is written by and directed by Lachlan Tate, one of our, famous playwrights. So we want folks to go out and support that event as well. We, stemming from the tourism education program, which we spoke about earlier, which is now in about 6 of our schools. Next week, from the 20th to the 23rd.
Is this a primary school program?
Primary
Okay.
and secondary.
And even tertiary, because
even
AVIC.
tertiary, because AVIC is
AVIC.
included. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't just want to impart the knowledge of textbooks and the experiences of some of the facilitators. We want them to also have a hands-on feel for tourism. And so next week we'll have a couple visits to some of the tourism related businesses and so on, so they could understand what it's like a tourist checking into a hotel and different things. And so we want to expose them to the product so that they could better relate to what we have to offer. And as one of the speakers said earlier, if we don't know the product, we can't sell it. So, and sometimes the little ones is, it's sometimes the best way to sell anything to children and so on. So,
They take the message.
so we're having the school tour, as we call it, where we're exposing well over 150 students to the product come next week. Then on the 25th, we have our Heritage Health and Fitness Walk to the Poinsy Chateau. Last year we went to the McDowell's estate, and that was quite an experience. I don't think a lot of people know that the estate exists, but we had a decent turnout, and this year we're encouraging the public to come out and join us on the 25th. We hope to start from the Pelican Mall from about 6 o'clock, and we go up to the Poinsy Chateau. And for those of you who don't know, it's in the St. Peter's area, the Fountains area, and many persons do know that the Poinsy was one of the governors on St. Kitts in way back when, and he influenced things such as the actors and the clowns and so on
National flower.
and the national flower, of course, was named after him. And so we want people to come out and learn a little history, while at the same time we stay fit, because a healthy nation is what we need in order to sustain the industry. Then on that same day, the 25th, around 9 o'clock, you have the St. Kitts Yacht Club Peninsula Swim. That is an annual event put on by the as I said, the Yacht Club, and it is building, and we want to encourage more persons to participate in it and so on. But so the swim is at 8 o'clock, starting from Shipwreck, and we want those persons who can swim and who have the stamina to go out and support that event. And currently we have our photo competition going on. Sergio will tell you a little bit more about that. The judging will be around the 22nd, but it's now open and it's a simple exercise. And so we want folks to participate in it. You know, everybody has a cell phone these days, so we're not asking for any professional photographs. We're just asking you to use a cell phone and to capture some images. But he'll tell you some more of what some of the regulation, the criteria for the event, the activity, I should say.
Yes, we have a photo competition. You know what? Let me tell you what the prizes are before I go into it. Really, you can win cameras. You can win cell phones, tablets, Bluetooth earphones, Echo. That is like a device. You tell it what to do and it does it. Like make a phone call or turn on the lights. I have one home. It works. That's good. But we have a lot of prizes for people who can take captivating photos of our product. By that I mean anything that is cultural, anything that is heritage, anything that is related to the tourism field. It could be an historical site, it could be the museum, it could be tourists on just walking around, but it is artistic. Anything to do with tourism, take that photo and upload it to your Facebook page, but make sure you hashtag it. That's important, otherwise we can't find it. And the hashtag is hashtag I love St. Kitts. Okay, Jacqueline, what's the hashtag?
I love St. Kitts.
That's right. Hashtag I love St. Kitts in the caption. That is all you have to do. Once you own a social media page, it could be Twitter, it could be Instagram, or it could be Facebook. Upload your photo, and I gotta repeat it, otherwise we cannot find your photo, and hashtag it. Hashtag I love St. Kitts. And the subject can be anything from carnival to our beaches, anything that you think is tourism related.
Nice sunset tonight.
Sunset. It can even be
Sunrise.
food.
People.
It can
yeah.
be people. Yeah, even that. The categories are we do have the under 12. We also have the youth between 13 and 19, and of course the adults. I think you fall in the adult section, Jacqueline?
I would definitely fall under
Okay,
the adult
and that's
section.
20 and over. So again, it's 3 categories, and I see about 4 photographers in here, I think. And they're eligible to enter, by the way. Hope they put the cameras on themselves. Anyway, again, the categories: children under 12 and under, youth between 13 and 19, adults 20 and over. And we have a lot of prizes. Cameras, expensive cameras. I mean, SLR cameras.
So you have a selection of judges that will choose the winning photo?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, we
deadline
have
is on the 29th. So the deadline for this actually is, I think, is the 27th to submit all of your photos, or to upload all of your photos on your own Facebook page and add the hashtag I love St. Kitts.
So you can submit more than one
You
entry?
can. You
Of
can.
course.
You can. We find them. We make sure we tag them with your name and information, and then we'll do the judging on the 29th, and then you'll be notified, of course, if you want.
Okay.
And I like to say, for these kinds of competitions, you might think that you're just entering a competition, but you never know where that photo is going to end up.
That is so true.
You really never know where that photo is
The
going to end up,
impact.
or where it's going to take you, the impact, because it might be something that is so outstanding that it ends up on magazine covers and that type of thing and so on, and you're going to get that type of recognition. So we're really encouraging people from all walks of life, all the different age groups, to make sure that they participate.
And I think it allows for tourism to be captured from everybody's perspective.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
with the use of technology, cell phones, you can get almost any people's way of living and
Right.
anything.
No
happen.
real restrictions.
Right.
It's up to you.
So
And you don't have to
Jacqueline,
be a professional photographer.
No,
No.
not at all.
I've
Not
been
at
looking
still.
for your photo. I hope I do see it.
Yes, unlimited
Photo,
submissions.
Also, just well, that can also be. Anyway,
Exactly.
and all photos that are submitted or uploaded will also be on our Faces of St. Kitts Tourism Facebook page. The reason why we call it that, it's all about us and all of those people who are in the tourism industry. And guess what? We all are.
Yes.
So on that Facebook page, you just see the common person. Either he's sitting down in a chair, relaxing, talking to a tourist, or a school child walking to go to school. But we all are faces of St. Kitts tourism. And so if you check that, whatever picture you upload or you put up on your page will end up on that page. Every photo will end up on that page.
And I just want to emphasize that it's for everyone, because I don't want people to feel intimidated by professional photographers who are out there. Say, oh, such and such, I know such and such is entering, so I definitely can't enter. It's for anybody to capture anything, even with your cell phone. So you don't have to have a Nikon or one of those high-end cameras. You can just take a picture like you usually would. People do selfies all the time. So anytime you're walking anywhere and you sit down there, it's like, wow, think it's nice, and you just can take a picture of wherever you are.
And we're looking for uniqueness. We're not looking for that. We're looking for something that's unique, and that's the St. Kitts. That is important. It has to speak about us here, our island, our culture, our heritage. So we're not looking for that glossy looking. We're looking Kittitian.
Yeah, something authentic.
Yes.
Not that you can go on Google and find 3,000 of them.
Exactly.
Of course.
Something unique.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, are there any other events we need to make sure we include?
That's our event we're pushing this week, the photo competition and so on. But all of these activities are designed to really highlight how vitally important tourism is to the country and to the individual, of course. And so we want to encourage the public to really participate, and let's make Tourism Month great. I want also to use this opportunity to express appreciation to a number of stakeholders. They came on board very early to support our activities, and we want to say thanks to establishments such as Champions Bar, Cheers Bar, Alababa, Tiamo, I Love St. Kitts, The Grill, Royal St. Kitts Resort, St. Kitts Marriott Resort, Sugarbed Club, Timothy Beach Resort, the Ocean Terrace Inn, Poinciana Restaurant, Jamrock, and Barry's Bar and Grill, and all the other stakeholders who came on board to support all of these initiatives and to make them the success that they are so far.
We have another major event coming up, but before we begin to speak about that, I want to open up the phone lines now. If you have any questions about Tourism Awareness Month activities, maybe even the photo competition, or if you have anything you'd like to ask or suggestions you'd like to make about tourism and the tourism sector itself, if you have any questions about the industry, now is the time to ask them. We have a quite capable panel here who's able to answer almost anything that comes to my mind that you have to ask. And the numbers are locally 465-2555. That's the local number, 465-2555. And the overseas line is 718-577-2918. That number again is 718-577-2918. The phone lines will be open for quite a while. The program ends at 3, and we'll see how many calls we can take. But while we await calls, let's continue with the conversation and go back to Mrs. William Taylor about the Climate Smart Conference that's taking place here later this year.
Okay, as many persons are aware, and they might have heard me before, we are hosting, in collaboration with the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the Climate Smart Sustainable Tourism Forum. This should have been held actually on September 6th this year.
Oh yes, it got postponed.
It got postponed because of climate change. So now we've had to change, and we're now going to have it December 12th and 13th. But what has happened is that our focus has shifted slightly.
Understandably so.
Definitely. So we've now put our focus on respond, rebuild, respond, restore, and rebuild. That's what our focus is, Caribbean Strong.
For the conference?
For our conference.
But I think it's absolutely fantastic that the organizers of the conference can not only postpone it, but have already shifted the focus of the conference to make it more relevant.
Exactly.
Based on what has recently happened.
Right. So we're going to focus on disaster, resilience, and recovery. And one of the things that we've introduced, because we've tweaked our agenda slightly, is the Caribbean Recovery Roundtable. So we're going to have the destinations that were most impacted by the storms. We're going to have representatives of those countries at a round table telling us what they're doing.
Oh, we have a call.
Okay.
Don't forget where you are. So we're going to take our first call for today.
Good afternoon.
Hi, welcome to Working For You.
Yes, good afternoon. Mr. James, Attorney at Law. Just a little feedback
Yes.
to our tourists. This morning on my way to court, magistrate court of course, I was walking going down, that is going south, and a couple was coming up. I said, good morning, welcome to St. Kitts Nevis. The guy, he was well polite. Lord, I didn't even know who he was, but I treat him good. I said, good morning, and welcome to St. Kitts Nevis. He said, oh, thank you. So I said, I'm going to court now. Oh, are you? I said, yes. So I said, this is his sixth time coming here to sing. I felt so good when he said this is his sixth visit to St. Kitts and Nevis, how he loved the place and so on. And he wanted to test me, I suppose. And he said, about what year again your beautiful country was colonized? I said, oh, 1623. They said 1625, but it was 2 years before James I of England died. Oh, yes, yes. And who was his successor? Well, it was his eldest son, Charles, who was executed in 1649. Did know the woman, his wife was a professor of history. But it's a good thing, I make thinking kept quick. So he was so pleased, and the man is a retired Superior Court judge. Lord of mercy. So I just tell my people, be careful when if you don't with a V. So in keeping with the tourism thing that we must make them feel welcome. Let us remember our little history, because not everybody can remember, but make them feel good. Because a lot of them come here because they love St. Kitts and Nevis, and I felt good. That year I felt as if I had $1 million in my pocket when he said he felt happy coming here, and this is his sixth time. So I just want to know, good feedback coming from the tourists so far.
All right, and we feel good
Thank
to
you
know
so
that you
much.
were able to
I
represent.
tell you, and he commended me for my dress code.
Oh.
I was well dressed, of course.
Always, I
Thank
always
you. Have a
are,
nice
James.
time. Thank you.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you so much. And you repped very well. I don't know if I would have been able to answer those questions. So I guess he bumped into the right person.
Yes.
And that is so important. I mean, I can't stress it enough in that when you're walking the streets and you see our guests, and it doesn't matter what color they be. In fact, if you see anybody, I mean, a smile can do so many things. And better yet, if you greet them, good morning, good afternoon, I'm telling you to stop and talk to them. You know, you can just say good afternoon and you keep walking. It is enough to say, wow, this is a beautiful destination.
Yes,
And
it is.
Saju, when you say that, you remind me of when the consultant first came to work with us. We had this consultant who was working with us, and she keeps speaking about it. She's like, I'm so amazed. Everybody comes into work and everybody says good morning to each other, and I'm there sitting and I'm wondering, you mean where you worked, people don't do that? Because that's the norm for us. We do it for each other. If we practice with each other, it becomes so easy when we have to do it with visitors. And look at the difference it made, because she's been working with us for 5 years now, but she still speaks of the experience when she first came and saw that everybody greeted each other when they came into work first thing in the morning. What other little things, like Sergio speaks of a smile, what a big difference that makes, because we've been to some of these metropolitan cities. People just pass each other like ships in the night. So when somebody actually stops and smiles, it makes that person feel so good, because it means you're happy that I'm here. And we want them to be happy. We want them to be happy to part with some of the funds.
I'm going to get to that. Happy people spend money.
Exactly.
You know, if you're unhappy in an establishment, you're not going to want to spend money there. I mean, it's from experience. But happy people, and that's what we want. And the money goes to the economy, the money goes to me and you.
And when one person does an act of kindness to that individual who received it, as far as they're concerned, it speaks about the general population.
Exactly.
Because I will go back to the experience I had with the young man from ICCS who helped the man in the mobile chair into the square. It was a senior person, and he was with his senior partner, and they couldn't get up on the little step.
Right.
And he stopped out of a group of them, and he helped him into the square. And that to the man would say so much, because he's already at a bit of a disadvantage.
Right.
So he now could experience the independent square because of that assistance, and for him, I'm sure that does I remember was thinking he'll now be traveling, comparing everywhere.
Yeah,
So like,
exactly.
when I was in St. Kitts, somebody else.
A child.
Yes.
People who are engaging and they like stories.
Right.
They want to hear about our stories, right? And I mean, put ourselves in their positions. If you visit a particular country, you want people to smile at you. You want to feel welcome. You don't want to feel as if you are treated like a complete stranger. Yes, you're a complete stranger in the truest sense of the word, but we want people who are going to accept us and be willing to point out to us if we ask for directions and that type of thing and so on, and to talk to us about their own culture and their own traditions and some of their own stories and so on and so forth. So if that is what you would want when you go to visit somebody else's country, then you begin to practice it here and let people know that we are warm, hospitable, friendly people, that St. Kitts is the place to visit.
Definitely.
And that our people are equipped to be able to deliver on all that we promise them in the glossy magazines that we have sent, that we give that and more.
Oh, the young man's name is Ray Brown. I was looking for it.
Okay.
Every opportunity I get to pick him up, I try to do so. That's why I flip into my book. So, Ray Brown. And I love to see when people go out of their way to give directions and they're heading one place, but the tourists
Go back.
can't find it and say, let me take you there, it's not too far. I love to see how they're giving their instructions in their own Kittitian kind of way. I think that's pretty interesting for them. But we were talking about the Climate Smart Conference.
Yes.
And how they've been able to reschedule and refocus.
Yes, and one of the other sessions that they've introduced, which was a previous session, it would have been our final session, is that we've tweaked the disaster recovery session, the risk management session, and we've now changed it to a roadmap to disaster management. How do people manage? Because that has been one of the biggest issues with the disaster that took place in September. Crisis communication. How do you get messages across? Now we talk about using the phone to get in touch with people, but what do you do when all of the lines, internet is down? How do you keep in touch? How do you get the word out? And how do you get the right word out? Because for us, we might say that St. Kitts was not impacted by the storms. We weren't impacted directly, but we are impacted indirectly. One, for us, the wholesalers, their suppliers, were impacted because if you got stuff from Miami, nothing was coming out of Miami. Puerto Rico, nothing was coming. Some people shipped to St. Martin, nothing was coming from there. The boat is not coming from Dominica every Monday because there's nothing to bring, right? We were also impacted with cruise ships because it doesn't take one island to make a cruise ship itinerary. It takes several islands. So if the other islands are out and only St. Kitts is left, we can't make a cruise itinerary. So we are impacted by the storm. And so how do we deal with that? In addition to that, for some people who might be geographically challenged, the Caribbean is one lump of people, and if Dominica is impacted, it means St. Kitts is impacted.
And I had a question about that because I remember hearing the gentleman from the Nevis Tourism Authority, I think, say that there are people out there who thought that is the whole Caribbean
Exactly.
mashup.
Just this morning I spoke to somebody on thing, Kathleen, who says that she's working to help us where that is concerned because people are of the impression that the
whole Caribbean
thing,
is
because
a mess.
You would be amazed. Some people think you could go from Jamaica to St. Kitts by car.
Yes.
You understand
And
what
we
I mean?
still have that.
We still have that. So, those
So
are some
our
of the
work
things.
is cut out for us. So with the workshop, we are looking at the roadmap to disaster management. How do you manage it? And we're going to bring in people like the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. How do people recover? I mean, do you get back on your feet? Just this week I attended the business continuity workshop organized by the Chamber on behalf of the Heart of St. Kitts Foundation. And these are some of the things they're talking about. How do you keep your business going? We looked at various scenarios. I mean, what is it when you're a wholesaler who's supplying a hotel, you're not getting in food stuff? What do you tell the guests who are flying in? That, well, because St. Martin is out, we can't get any food. What difference does that make to the person who might have saved for the last 5 years to come to St. Kitts for a vacation and you're telling them something like that? It doesn't help them. So you must have a plan B in place. How do you get those things put in place? And you can't wait until June 1st every year to start putting your plan in place. And you have to start doing it now. You have to engage your staff. Because also, if your staff can't come to work, who's going to be running the hotel? Because my staff, for example, their houses might have been destroyed, or they might have had some other mishap during a storm. The person is not expected at work, or even if they do show up to work, they might not be functioning as well because their mind is at home with the child and they're distracted and they're not giving their best. So how do we manage those things? How do we communicate that yes, while Dominica is down, St. Kitts and Nevis still open for business? How do we get it out without even putting it in such a way that we make things look really bad in Dominica so we can look really good? Because we're all each other's keeper, and all of us were impacted because all of us have relatives in these places, right? And so it makes a difference to us, right? And also with the roadmap to with the tourism recovery roundtable, these people are going to be speaking about what is it they're going to be doing, because it's now high season for tourism. What are you going to do? Because we are all dependent on tourism. I mean, no income is coming in because you are shut down. Maybe you can have a little corner that you take care of. Just recently I was speaking to someone from Dominica who pointed out to me that they've worked really hard to get back lights in Portsmouth. But Roseau doesn't have lights still, and Roseau is the capital. Maybe they can capitalize on Portsmouth being up to do something so that the country can generate some revenue to help with some of the recovery process. These are some of the things that we are going to be discussing at the Climate Smart Sustainable Tourism Forum. These are things we are looking at because it has to be relevant. And what we like about it is, although we are a little disappointed that we had to postpone it, because this is the International Year of Sustainable Tourism, and as far as we know, and I know for sure that definitely not in this hemisphere, there's no other sustainable tourism calendar event, international sustainable, after ours. So ours is going to be the capstone for event for International Year of Sustainable Tourism. So we're going to have to make sure that this thing happens with a bang. And what we are saying to people, especially our businesses, because when we started doing this in September, we didn't have many businesses who were coming on board. Here is your opportunity to be a part of the recovery process. Yes, you've sent goods, but here's a chance where we can dialogue, because people in Dominica without means of communication might not know what people in St. Martin are doing. This is the forum where all of us going to come together and say, well, you're having the challenge, we had it, but here's how we addressed it, and that might help somebody. So our local businesses and even regional businesses can come on board and help us to make sure that this thing is a success. Because, for example, you're bringing in people from St. Martin to come to this forum. They might have a challenge in terms of being able to come and pay to be a part of it. How can you as a business help to bring these people here? And then this year might be St. Martin and Dominica. What is happening next year? God forbid, we don't know if it's going to be St. Kitts. We want to hear what they did, because we want to make sure that we put things in place here in St. Kitts so that the impact on us as a country would be lessened, right? We want to mitigate some of the things that would have created even bigger bottlenecks for the people on the road to recovery. So as businesses, you can come on board and make sure you're part of the entire recovery process, because we are all recovering. It's not just those who are directly hit, but as a country, St. Kitts and Nevis has been hit by the hurricanes, just not the same way that these other destinations. And this is the forum where people get an opportunity to share these best practices. One of our challenges, and might be noted, is we have not identified a keynote speaker. We're now no longer going to use the actor who would have been in here in September. We are looking for someone who can speak to the situation that we are talking about, disaster recovery and resilience. And that is what our focus is at the moment, to get somebody who can speak to that situation and have that kind of inspiration, inspire people, motivate our people to hit the ground running, because these types of storms are going to become the norm. What do we do? And also, disaster recovery is not only about hurricanes, pandemics. Mosquitoes are in abundance as a result of the passing of the storms. How do we treat those things? Earthquakes are ever imminent. I mean, we hear people telling we are due I don't understand why people say we're due, because I don't think we're due for things like that. But you know that as a result of what is happening with climate change, coastal erosion, those things can create disasters even for us, because remember, traditionally we didn't open shelters until after the storm. This year we had to open some shelters because Maria was passing along the coast in St. Thomas area, and people who live along the coast had to be evacuated to shelters, encouraged to be going into shelters because of the potential damage that the storm would cause. Those are some of the things that we have to start looking at as a country. The erosion to our coastline, that can create an even bigger disaster for us, because when visitors come, we have a lot of history, but they also want that history, you can bet your life, tied to a beach.
That's what they come for?
That's what they come for. They're gonna love the history, they love it off, but the beach must be a part of that vacation. Even if you only get to spend half an hour out of a 1 week vacation on the beach, you want to have bragging rights, because some people don't see the beach where they come from, and they don't see the blue waters that we take so much for granted, right? So they want that opportunity. The other thing I must point out, and this is what is reminding me, I always like to leave these things, I don't know why, but one of the big parts of this event is the Sustainable Tourism Awards, the Caribbean Sustainable Tourism Awards. And the best part of it is there are 10 awards that are going to be distributed at the award ceremony. And we just found out, I think it was just after the storm had passed, we've been planning all along, and they only just let us know that you won. We are going to receive the award for excellence in sustainable tourism in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Oh my God!
Out of the 27 member countries of CTO.
That is
St. Kitts.
fantastic.
And to add to that, a lot of the categories, private companies were the ones who had applied, were nominated and had won. St. Kitts is among the few areas where the government, a Ministry of Tourism, is winning something.
Our sustainable tourism program has won excellence.
That is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that here on today's program. We feel like we got a little inside information there. I hope they are excited about it as I am. That is absolutely
it is not fantastic. It's no mean feat. I'm telling you, it's a lot of work. And Mrs. Martin,
I can't imagine, because even when I travel, you see so many different agencies and hotels really putting the emphasis on the sustainable practice and go green and eco this and that. So
all the little things
they are doing something right.
Yes.
That is great.
I was about to say, I went to St. Lucia maybe about a week and a half ago. Same kind of sustainable tourism type thing. And a lot of the things that they're talking about, people must do this. And in my mind, I'm saying, but we are doing that already. I mean, that's the norm for us. Yeah. But they are touting it and, encouraging a lot of the bigger islands and so on to come on board. You can do this, you can do that, and so on and so forth. So and sometimes we feel as if I don't know if we're doing enough, we should be. But I mean, I think we're doing pretty well.
And people need to understand, if the Ministry of Tourism want it, kind of in a way we all want it,
Yes.
It's a people want it. That's how you need to see it. We can take a few more of your calls if you want to share in today's program. The number is 465-2555. That's 465-2555. And the overseas number is 718-577-2918. That number again is 718-577-2918. Can you just tell us, just give us a quick overview again of some of the key areas of your sustainable development program?
One of the key things in the sustainable tourism program is that we have a sustainable destination council, and this is now being modeled in other destinations. I mean, people have been calling us. Aruba called, Antigua called. They wanted to take a leaf out of our book with regard to having a council which is made up of public and private sector and NGO entities that manages destination stewardship in the island. We have one of those, right, which is our Sustainable Destination Council. That's where we started from. We also do Destination Guardian training. We're training people in sustainable tourism for development. We also have tourism enterprise training, and I said this time around we did I speak sustainable tourism. Next year, perhaps we can speak, I speak fishing in St. Kitts. I speak diving in St. Kitts. We can choose any area, any niche. I speak hiking in St. Kitts. Those are part of the I Speak series. We have the Heart of St. Kitts Sustainability Charter. Nobody else has done something like that. They have it in different names. Ours is a simple charter which says I commit to doing these things to ensure the sustainability of tourism in St. Kitts. Little things like turning off lights in rooms that are not being used, looking at water use, not wasting water, management strategies to involve the staff, having a consultative process. All those things go towards sustainability. Just committing towards that, and very shortly, I think by the end of this month, we are going to have the implementation guide, which we can distribute to businesses who sign on to our charter. They're going to be a part of that. The other thing that we're doing as part of our sustainable tourism program is the resident satisfaction survey, and I know quite a few persons would have participated. We only needed 250 respondents, and in the end we had 323 respondents. We've broken it down by parishes because that's what we needed so that it is equitable, and we are now reviewing the results and looking at the results, but the results have been good. But what is important is that something like this has never been done, and we are going to use this survey and the results as a tool to help us, to guide us in our decision making. Situations like this, the awareness, how aware are the people of St. Kitts and Nevis of what is happening in tourism and how it impacts them? So Tourism Month does that, but it's at one point. But throughout the year, so that people feel a part of whatever it is we are doing, we are making sure our programs reach everybody. The children are reached and they can take it home to their parents. We have radio programs, TV appearances, we have activities, and even though it might be a small activity, Plastic Free July with the turtles, and we collaborate. So the Plastic Free July, for example, was done in collaboration with the Sustainable Destination Council and the St. Kitts Sea Turtle Monitoring Network, because we know the impact on the marine environment when we have these things, but the impact is also felt terrestrially. Right? But all of these are part of our program, and we are going to be expanding it. We want people to think of conservation of water, beautiful Bastille. Those are the things that we want people to start thinking about. How do we conserve the architecture in downtown Bastille? Because that is something that is remarked upon by many visitors. They tell you, don't change it. This is what we travel to the Caribbean for. We don't want to leave Miami Beach to come to another Miami Beach with all these tall skyscrapers and stuff like that. That is not St. Kitts Nevis. And then you can't see the water, the tranquil waters of the Caribbean Sea. Maintain your downtown. Keep the architecture as best as you can. Those are some of the things we're working on, in addition to the environmental programs where we reduce the amount of plastics and the energy, looking at alternative uses of for energy. And more important than the renewables, we want people to practice energy efficiency, because that is where we can all do a small part. Turning off lights, using equipment that reduces the waste of energy. Those are some of the things we are encouraging, and this is from the Sustainable Tourism Program of the Ministry of Tourism. I don't know why people aren't calling us in terms of getting on board. How can you be a part of it? Everybody can be a part in some small way. We do beach cleanups, and we don't organize. We get on board with people who have organized. Community cleanups, we work with them, or we put you in touch with other people, because, for example, we've worked quite a bit with Ross University, the groups on campus. They're here for a short time. They've come up with ideas and we work with them. People who live here all their lives need to come up with programs in terms of developing sites in their communities. What can we do for marine conservation? How can we develop a new attraction in my community? Not everything has to be in Bastille. Not everything has to be in Frigate Bay. As a matter of fact, the visitors want to get out of Bastille. They want to go into the rural areas. They want to understand what is that stone structure? What is the story behind it? And I tell people, for example, if there's a wall where grandmother said that is where the estate owner used to come and pay them, and they used to sit there and tell stories. create an attraction out of that. This is the wall, and you call it the something or other wall for tourism, and you have people stopping there. You have your little craft, and you sell from there. That is creating an attraction, and it can be a small community coming together and developing something like this. And with the Heart of St. Kitts Foundation, we are looking to generate enough funds so that we are able to give persons who want to develop these sites some grant funding, right, seed money to help them with their projects.
You've made reference to the Heart of St. Kitts the Foundations a few times. Can you just give an overview of what it is exactly?
The Heart of St. Kitts Foundation started out as a travel philanthropy program, but we expanded it so that residents and local businesses can also contribute.
What do you mean travel philanthropy program?
This is a program whereby visitors get an opportunity to give back to the destination, because previously there was no mechanism for visitors to give back, and very often there were situations where visitors, especially large groups, incentive groups, they come here, they enjoy their time here, they wanted to know how can they give, where can they give to, but there was no mechanism in place. Somebody will send you to that person will tell you to go to somebody else. We now have a mechanism in place, and what we're doing, we're focusing on 4 areas: marine and coastal conservation, new tourism product, cultural conservation, and the third one is community tourism projects. Those are the things that we are focusing on the Heart of St. Kitts Foundation, and we encourage the businesses that sign on to our charter to make an annual contribution, or they can pass it on. For example, hotels can ask for a donation from their guests of $1 for their stay that can be contributed to the Heart of St. Kitts Foundation. Or you can go to the website heartofstkitts.org and you make your contribution. We also have a Facebook page, but it all goes, everything that's collected goes towards these projects. It is managed by a public-private sector entity with respect to the Sustainable Destination Council. We are responsible for the governance of the foundation, and that is to ensure that accountability and transparency in funding these projects.
Well, we're almost out of time, and we haven't even said anything about the yachting sector yet, because I know that was mentioned.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
On the
We can't leave
23rd,
that out.
we're going to have the launch of the strategic and implementation yachting. The plans, there was a draft policy that was put together, I think, in about 2014, and out of that, we have generated now the what we want to do and the how we want to do. That is how I break it down. And so we're going to have a launch. They are working documents, we're using them and so on, but we want to have an official launch, because we actually have a national yachting advisory committee, public-private partnerships and so on and so forth, who, because they have that hands-on information, that knowledge, they will share information with us. Policy, so we do, when we put our policy together, we do it in a very informed way. How, for example, they can go about getting certain concessions, if they can provide evidence to government that these are some of the things that they're doing to enhance our tourism product and so on and so forth. And so we are all working together to make sure that we have a very strong yachting. I think it is being done in a very informal way already, so we're just formalizing the whole thing and making sure that government is involved in some way, shape or form in what goes on in yachting. So it happens on the 23rd of this month over at the marina at Christophe Harbour, and so all of the different persons who would have been involved in working to make sure that we have covered these milestones that we have been able to achieve in yachting, that they're there, that they're recognized, and we let the world know that where yachting is concerned, St. Kitts is on the map as well.
And also, Jacqueline, just to piggyback up Mr. Morton, the yachting can actually make much more money than the cruise sector. Yachting sector around the world is huge, and right now with Christophe Harbour and so forth, able to accommodate the super yachts. When these yachts come, the money that is spread around the economy is great, and that's one of the reasons why the ministry have made it one of the strategy to develop a very strong yachting sector in St. Kitts, and this is just part of the to get it up and going.
Well, there seems to be so much happening.
Oh yeah.
In the tourism sector. A lot of planning and a lot of promoting, a lot of strategic thinking, but at least we see where it's going and what the results of that are. what are some of the challenges you have? We can't end the program without talking about the challenges, you know, because we know there are some difficulties. So if you can give us an overview of what are some of those things that you've not yet been able to overcome, or some things that have created some difficulties for you in your work.
As much as we're talking about awareness, I think that there's a gap. I don't think that people are as aware of tourism and the product and the contributions that it is making to our socioeconomic development. So that is one of the struggles that we are still taking. And that is hence the tourism education and awareness program, to make sure that grassroots, from our young people right up, and all of these radio programs that you see us that we participate in. I think on Friday there is going to be Today in Tourism and so on and so forth. And so we have a number of those types of outreach programs. We have, for the first time, I think just last year, we employed a community tourism education officer. But a community tourism officer, she works in the tourism education and awareness program as well, because we are trying all kinds of avenues to get the word out, to make sure that we make that contact, that we get people in our communities understanding that, listen, you have a role to play. I don't think people understand that. They think that tourism is something that takes place somewhere up there by the cruise thing, and you understand, people are not understanding the linkages either, that there are tourism is a cross-cutting, very transversal type of sector, and that there are ways and different opportunities and avenues for people to get into the sector. And so I think that is a message that we need to keep preaching. That is one of the challenges, getting that word out.
Even a simple thing as to when you go to the beach, walk with a garbage bag. It's really, disheartening when you go to the beach and you're seeing a styrofoam cup or a plastic plate on the beach, and you wonder, how could somebody just leave that there? I mean, not just for our guests, but for our own selves who use the beach. Walk with a garbage bag. Those small little things go a long way into making our tourism product really, really exceptional.
Sergio, just to piggyback off of what you said, just a few years ago, when we first started our sustainable tourism program in earnest, the consultant and we had this discussion, and we had this joke. We were going to come up with this slogan, to come up a you on. That's what we wanted, to have something where we have this PSAs speaking to that situation, because I think one of the problems is people don't want to own their garbage. It's yours. You generated it. Right? Take them up, are you on? And it was funny to us because she could not get to say it. It was so difficult for her to say it. I was like, she would be like, say it again. I said, take them up, are you on? She said, who? Take who? Right? But because we felt that it had to be like that. Don't speak and properly and say, take it up, it's yours. No, go right down to the root of it and say, take them up, are you on? Go with it, are you on? That kind of thing. It's yours, go with it. Right? People are leaving stuff on the beach and they wonder, I mean, it's going to disappear. It can't disappear. It's going to come back to you. If it comes back in being unsightly, it goes into the water, and then we complain that the fish is poisonous. Who poisoned the fish?
I was telling you just when we spoke just recently about a crab that had a doll's head, a plastic doll's head. The poor crab is confused. It saw this particular thing with an opening, and so it backed into it, and the crab feels as if it has a shell. And while I was looking at it, and I was saying, well, I'm hoping that this is not in St. Kitts. Just recently, somebody posted from St. Kitts a soldier crab that was in the back of their yard, and the soldier crab had on its back a plastic cap from maybe a spray can of some kind, whether it's spray starch or whatever. So the animals themselves are being confused. Then we saw a turtle that had a straw that was stuck down in its nostril because it went after the jellyfish or whatever it is. It think it's a turtle. You see this thing that looks very transparent, and apparently it got stuck down in the nose of the animal. And so on the Facebook, some kind souls were seen trying to take it out and so on, and you could look at it and see that thing had been stuck in the turtle's nostril for quite a while. And so those are things that they just make you shudder. So as we're saying, your garbage is not going to dispose of itself, and it is not going to just disappear either. So we have to make a conscious effort to pick up behind ourselves. As Sasha said, you're going somewhere, walk with a bag to put in your garbage if you're going
Use
on the
it.
beach and so on, and dispose of it in a very responsible way, because it will come back to haunt us in some shape or form, and it is destroying our environment.
Yeah, well, three things when it comes to garbage. First of all, it's just the right thing to do to clean up after yourself. Secondly, if you claim to love St. Kitts so much,
Exactly.
if you
Yeah.
claim to, this is where you live, so you should consider it your home. It's like
Right.
your house. You wouldn't throw down garbage in your house and not
Exactly,
pick it up. And thirdly, we would want it for ourselves, because you don't want to show up at any beach or any place
Right.
and it's dirty. That turns people off. So it would be unfortunate to know that they would leave that
Right.
place.
And
like
I
that
go
for
back
someone else.
again, Jackie, to the whole idea of the children. It's the teacher in me, I can't help. That you listen, once you educate our children and they fully understand what the best practices are, they are going to go away with them and they're going to take them home.
Yes.
I remember speaking to a young lady some time ago. She's from Canada, and she says in her mind, if she ever thinks about throwing even a piece of a wrapper for a gum on the ground, she imagines her mother or her teacher hitting on her hand. That is how much a part of her it has become. She understands that you walk with that thing, because she grew up in Canada where they had all of the recycling bins and everything and so on. And so it is just second nature. It's like breathing.
This is a little disappointing and saddening note to know that littering is something we have to
It's
talk
our
about
Imagine that.
biggest
here on the
issue.
program.
It's
We
our
have
biggest-
Yeah.
other things we need to talk about, but to have
Waste
to
management is our
allocate
biggest.
time of our program to say, you
And
know,
it is interfering with our tourism.
Of
product.
course
Yes.
it would.
It
Of
is
course.
interfering with our tourism.
Because when we travel and we see a dirty place, we're quick to cast judgment.
Yes.
So I can only imagine when visitors come here and they see us doing.
So I want our young people, our citizens in general, to get to the point where when they picture themselves throwing anything, they smack themselves on their hand, and just don't let it fall. Just catch yourself and say, "Oh no, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to take it away with me."
Oh well, we have a call. We'll have to make this our final call for the program.
Hello,
Hello.
good
Hi.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome
It's
to
nice to get the last part of this, because it's nice for us to be talking about the lot of garbage around. But the garbage ain't just over frigate there. The garbage all around St. Kitts, especially and the parameter from the terminal go right back up to Shell. And tourism must play a role in this.
Yes.
They must play a role in this. You hello?
Yes, we're listening.
You could imagine in the circus people just come and litter as they like, and when you call the authorities, them people who should be helping us police this thing, they're telling you go on station and make report. Well, I want to know, if policing different to policing today, if you were different yesterday to today. And something wrong with people. Cross Port Center, they come over there with the kids, they take off the pampers with waste in it and leave it in the benches them and talking about they got workers. Oh, come on. Tourism, I hear Miss Morton saying they bring in somebody to go in the community. They better come fast. And they must come with powers, because they're ready to lock them up. All of them who feel they could be a threat to this tourism.
Okay.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Anyway, have a good day.
Yes, and thank you so much for your
Thanks for calling
contribution.
in. Yes.
I know that's a big topic for several
Yes.
people, including that particular caller.
That pet peeve there.
Yes. But we're pretty much out of time, so we're gonna have to wrap up. So if there's anything you'd like to say in relation to what that final caller said, and anything you'd like to leave on the minds of our listeners and viewers.
For me, from the last caller, we had this campaign at the Tourism Authority, our thing, hashtag our thing, our beach, our thing, our carnival, our thing, our streets, our, the various aspects of our tourism product, our thing. So even though you're going to take ownership of your garbage, take ownership of the beach.
Your country, yes.
Take ownership of your country. It's like your house. So you wouldn't want to leave garbage in your bedroom, in your living room, in your yard. No, you'll clean it up. So really and truly, my last message really is take pride in your country. Keep it clean.
Thank you, Mr. Ngala. Mr. Williams.
Well, I'd like to say, well, first I want to thank all of the stakeholders who so far have contributed to Tourism Awareness Month. As we have said earlier, tourism is everyone's business, and we need to treat it with the respect it deserves. And remember that it is the single most important economic driver, and so we need to do our part to sustain this vital industry.
Thank you so much.
Okay, my final thing is to remind persons about the Climate Smart Sustainable Tourism Forum, which is being held this year, December 12th and 13th at the Ocean Terrace Inn. And I want to remind persons who would have registered for September that they need to reconfirm with the Ministry of Tourism. And for persons who did not get a chance to register previously but want to be a part of it now, you can always contact us at the Ministry of Tourism, or you can go on to the website Caribbean, S as in sugar, T as in tango, C as in Charlie, .com, and you can sign up. Well, actually you can get the registration form if you're local from there, and if you're overseas, there are registration forms for overseas participants. Registration fee is still $150 US for locals, and there are separate registration fees for non-residents. We want to remind businesses that here's an opportunity for you to support the Caribbean recovery efforts by supporting the Caribbean Climate Smart Sustainable Tourism Forum. Please contact us at 467-1390 or 465-4040 extension 107. Thank you.
And Mr. Ngala, did you give the website address for the brand new shiny website?
It's www.stkidstourism.kn, and St. Kitts ST, stkidstourism.kn.
Okay, fabulous.
I'd just like to say thanks, Jacqueline, for having us. I think we had a really good opportunity here to make sure that we get the word out of a lot of the things that we are doing, and to encourage Kittitians, Nevisians, citizens, residents to become a part of this wonderful sector called tourism. Remember that you don't have to work directly in tourism to make your contribution. It is, as Sergio said, it is our thing, and all of us.
Our thing.
Our
thing.
Like this
Don't
show.
say thing. Okay, our thing is we thing.
Yes,
and
is
all
we
of
thing.
us
That
have a
sounds better.
significant
Yeah.
role to play in making sure that it survives, and we have something that is strong and vibrant and dynamic to hand over to the next generation.
That is so true. Well, thank you so much. And just to remind you, we were speaking with representatives from the Ministry of Tourism in the persons of Calvin Henry Morton, who's the permanent secretary there, Daniel Taylor Williams, who is the assistant secretary, and Alistair Williams, who is the executive director responsible for tourism events. And they were joined by Saju Ngala, who is the public relations manager in the St. Kitts Tourism Authority. And my name is Jacqueline Bryan. I was your host for today, and this was Working for You, which airs on ZIZ, Sugar City Rock FM and Win FM every Wednesday from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. If you missed today's program, or if you want to hear it again because there was so much information that was given, you can listen to the rebroadcast on Freedom FM on Thursday from 7:30 a.m. to 9, and again on Vaughan Radio also on Thursday from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. So those are the times respectively, and this program, I am told, is aired on ZIZ television. I know about on Sundays, so you can definitely catch it then. If not, our YouTube page, yes, SKNIS also has a YouTube account. We are all over providing you with the information you need, and we're making it as accessible as possible. So lots of what you need to know about government, its departments, because these are the people who make things happen, and these are the people who make things work, and they come here to give an opportunity to find out what's going on and ask them questions. So thank you once again.
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for-
All right,
Much
take care,
appreciated.
and you take care as well to all of our listeners and viewers today. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Working for you. A weekly talk radio program which highlights developments of national interest and the activities of your St. Kitts Nevis government. Join host Lesroy Williams as he presents news, views, reports, and interviews about everything regarding the activities of the Team Unity government and the building of our communities and the development of St. Kitts Nevis. Tune in and call in to interact with your government and share your views regarding the upward forward development of your community and our beautiful Twin Island Federation. Working for you is weekly, every Wednesday live from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on ZIZ Radio, Win FM, and Sugar City FM with rebroadcast on participating stations. Working for you.